Yo, everybody, it's the Hype Beavers today, and we are reacting to three through disturbing night drive animated horror stories at 3 a.m. shocked, pretty cold. So, we're just gonna react and that's it.
Man, do
I
these?
was on a road trip to meet up with a best friend of mine that I hadn't
Oh
seen in
shit,
a
I can
couple
hear.
years. He had just bought a home in Montana, so it was a great excuse
Oh
to hang
no,
out for a
I'm
while and catch up on life. The drive was 10 hours from where I lived, and due to work schedules, I ended up leaving home at 8 p.m. to drive overnight and arrive sometime around 6 a.m.
Holy shit.
I was tired from having worked the whole day before leaving, and being alone on the road made it hard to keep my eyes open. I knew it was going to be a struggle, but after a few hours of driving, I was struggling much more than I'd anticipated.
Damn.
By 1 a.m., it was becoming dangerous how sleepy I was getting, so I was going to pull over at the next town and find a parking lot to rest in for a few hours.
Bro's gonna get
But
killed.
as I continued driving,
Bo has
there was
a
nothing but
smart
road
idea.
for miles
That's
and
shocking.
miles. I must have fully dozed off, because the next thing I knew,
Holy
I was
shit.
halfway in a
Yeah,
ditch,
Bobo is
slamming on my
playing GTA.
brakes. Thankfully, I had woken up in time to stop from hitting any trees or causing serious damage to my car,
Oh, did he
but I
kill
was
somebody?
way off the
Okay.
side of the road. After taking a moment to collect myself, I got out and assessed the situation. It was very dark outside, with only the headlights from my car providing light, but the situation did not look good. I had veered a few feet off the road into a steep ditch that separated the road from the woods. I stepped onto the road and looked all the way down in both directions, but it was completely dark both ways. No signs of anything nearby.
Bro's gonna get killed.
Still trying to keep myself calm, I went back to my car and tried to reverse out of the ditch, but it wouldn't even budge.
Well, this
I pulled out my phone, and by some miracle, I had 1 bar of service. I called 911, and though the connection was choppy, I got the message across. They said they could have an officer with a winch down to help me in about 2 hours.
2 hours? God damn, bro. Where are
I waited in
you?
my car for a while,
It does not
looking
take
between
that
the
long.
road and the empty woods around
2
me,
hours.
getting kind of creeped out the more I thought of how remote I was. After 30 minutes, I laid back in my seat and tried to catch some sleep. Unfortunately, the whole situation had me too shaken to fall asleep though. I sat up and looked around again, not seeing any lights on the road. But just before I looked away, I barely made out a shape on the other side of the road.
Oh shit.
Just 20 or 30 feet from my car. I never heard or saw them pull up, but I knew they weren't there before.
By.
It was too dark to see any details, but I knew the police would have had their lights on for sure. So why was this truck stopped out here, right by me in the middle of nowhere?
He just
with
wants to
all of
kill
its
you, bro.
lights off?
Yeah, man, it's that simple.
I stared
man.
at it for at least 5 minutes, not seeing any movement
You
or
ain't gonna
signs of
ask for
someone
help
being
or
inside
nothing.
it.
You're just gonna look at him on the.
And I decided to call the police for an update on their location. But as I turned and reached back for my phone, a figure was standing at my passenger window. They were peering into my car,
God,
looking
what the
directly at
hell?
me. His soulless
What
eyes
the
showed that he had no intent to help me.
Oh my god.
The shock
Well,
of
let him
it
in.
had me frozen in fear.
Just
The
let him
man
in,
then
bro.
walked around my car and stared at me again through my window.
It's Holland.
Seeing him just a
It's
foot
famous
away from me,
chocolate,
with
huh?
only the thin glass between
Holland.
us, was the most terrified I'd ever felt. The man tested the door handle a couple
Oh,
times
he ain't not
before
happy.
saying in frustration,
You stupid
What has he been eating, bro?
the
Just
other
like
windows.
stuff on his mouth, but
I
what
was in a
the hell?
complete panic, breathing heavily and preparing for
Oh.
whatever was to happen next. But then I
Bro
heard
lives in
and saw
Montana,
the
but
truck
that's how we're
speeding
doing.
away.
Okay. Oh,
The
whatever.
man by my car looked over like he was surprised and ran up to the road.
Bro got robbed.
After a second, he immediately sprinted past my car and disappeared in the woods.
Odin Hunter.
That's it, bro?
I took up a job at a popular
never
pizza
mind.
restaurant last year for
Man, all
evening
of this
shifts after
stuff, and what do
school.
you mean?
I just wanted some money to pay for my bad eating habits.
Oh, yeah, that
It
was the
wasn't a
end of the
familiar
story.
Place, so I didn't think
Oh my
twice
goodness,
about
look,
taking
it's
the
the same
job.
guy.
It was a chill place to
Oh,
work.
never mind.
Most of the
No,
other
it
workers
isn't.
were students like
Never
me.
mind.
This happened on one of my Friday shifts, and it still has been the only strange occurrence that's happened to me on the job.
Oh, really?
I had just picked up a couple orders to deliver and got in the
Go
car to
work.
start heading to the first
Ah,
address.
pizza.
I typed in the first address and started the 10-minute drive.
10
It was
minute
just
drive.
past 10 p.m., so the roads were bare and I was able to relax a bit.
No, okay, how do we went from a
It's worth
city to
mentioning
a
that I
highway
didn't live in a
in the
huge
middle
city,
of
but rather a smaller and older town.
Oh,
So most
no,
of
we're
the
gonna
houses were
fucking
beat up and
celebrate.
old, but it was normal for the area. When I pulled up to
What
the
time is it?
address, it was just as all the others looked. It was a small one-story home with overgrown bushes around it.
No
I
neighbors,
got
no
the pizza
nothing.
and walked up to the porch,
Well, Liz,
knocking and waiting for them to
Middle of
answer.
nowhere. None suspicious
I
about
gave it a
that.
couple minutes before I called the customer's cell phone they had provided, but it went straight to voicemail. They still had to pay, so I couldn't leave it on the porch for them, and after waiting for nearly 5 minutes, I got back in my car and searched up the next address. Right as I read it though, it was weirdly familiar. It was on the same street, but looking around, this street didn't seem to have any other houses on it.
Man, what?
There was another
Ah,
road connecting to it, but I
really?
could clearly see that there was a barricade blocking it off.
Oh, really?
After searching the address on multiple direction apps, I got the same answer, which was that it was down that dead-end road. I drove my car up to the barricade, which was just a couple cones with a wooden beam running between them, and far off in my headlights, I could see another house.
Oh, nah.
I looked again at the barricade, and it wasn't clear whether it was an
Bro.
actual roadblock or just
I
a
am
homemade
out of
thing
there.
they
I don't
set
care.
up
I'm
to
getting
keep
fired.
solicitors or
I
through
don't care.
traffic.
I'm out of there.
Bro.
Pulled out my phone and
Niggas
called the
not getting
customer,
upset.
which
Let me just
even
say, you're
weirder
not
was the
getting
same
upset,
number as the
Papa.
previous order.
You're not
But
getting
this
Just
time,
go to another
no
address,
answer.
bro. It's not that deep.
Hey, I have
It's
a
not
pizza
that.
delivery for you, but the address I have
Ah,
is
plus
blocked
no.
off.
Big pussy
The
way.
man responded charismatically, apologizing and telling me to just lift the wooden beam off the cones and drive down the road.
Oh, nah.
He went on about annoying
Bro has
people
British
by taking his.
teeth.
I lifted up the wooden
Oh,
beam
baby.
and laid it flat on the ground,
Okay,
then drove
man.
up the gravel driveway.
And then I got
Pulling
shot.
up, I saw one light was on downstairs, and a figure was in the window looking through the curtains.
Oh, he's bald.
The figure moved away from the window, going toward the front door as I approached the house. When I got to the porch, I waited for them to open the door, knowing
Man,
they
what are
saw me
those
coming
goofy
up.
ass
After
shoes,
30
bro? What
seconds,
the
I
hell?
gave it a knock. Still, nobody answered. I started to get a little uneasy.
Yo, pizza's getting
Felt a
cold,
weird
bitch.
But I got this urge to go right back to my car and drive away.
Just pay for the pizza. Just
As
leave
I
it
got
there.
back to the end of the driveway, I had to floor my brakes. The wooden beam was set
When
back
did
up
this
again on the
motherfucker
cone.
It's not that deep. Just go through it, bro.
I quickly
It's,
got out and knocked it
I mean-
over, jumping back in my car
go
and
back.
driving out of there.
Oh, he's inside your
If
car.
things weren't freaky enough,
Oh,
while I
he's
pulled out of the
inside.
road, I saw the flicker of headlights turn on behind me,
Ooh,
following
we got
for
some
several
suspicion
minutes
right now.
until I got onto the main road. From what I could see,
What are
they
those
never
big
left the
ass
neighborhood.
hands, bro? Did you notice?
When I got back to the restaurant, I told my manager, who called the police.
Yo, is
for
that
me,
the guy from
which I
Real Madrid?
admittedly- It did turn out that the two homes the pizzas were ordered to were vacant, empty houses that weren't even for sale or anything.
Oh, shit. Last story, bro.
I drive a
sorry.
van for work, delivering products to a few family-owned stores around my city.
Another
One night,
delivery
just 4
job,
months
bro.
ago,
What's
I was
up,
driving my
pizza?
route between 3 stores to do some after-hour deliveries. It
Tony
was about
Cruz?
11 p.m., and I had just finished the last
Tony
delivery for the
Cruz!
night. From there,
Bro
the
went
warehouse I had
downhill,
to
I
drop
guess.
the van off was 30 minutes away.
Bro retired.
What
I
time?
drove for maybe 5 minutes until a
What
car
is
pulled up
this
behind me
animation
at the
weird?
intersection. There were no other cars out, just me and them.
Oh.
When the light turned green, I started driving, and it wasn't
Ooh, they
until a
sound
few more
lazy.
minutes down the road that I realized they were still right behind me.
Don't worry,
I was
bro.
in
Okay.
a big, slow
It's
van,
a one-way
so most
road,
people would
nigga.
just go around me, but they didn't. I wasn't worried or anything, but it was odd. As we continued
not
driving, their headlights steadily got brighter and brighter until they were so close that the light was being blocked by the back of my van. They had to be just a foot or two away from my bumper. The
Mm.
lane next to us was open, so they could easily just go around, but instead, they chose to tailgate me, which then
Aw,
started
man.
making me nervous.
Oh shit.
I slowed down to a stop
what you
sign
do in
and
this
was going to
situation
turn
is
just to get
get
away
out,
from
get
them,
the
but
car,
just as I stopped,
you know
the car
the-
behind me bumped into my van.
You're paying for that,
It was enough to
bitch.
shake the whole van and push me
Holy
forward,
balls,
which I
man!
knew
Now
had
he's
to
gonna
cause
kill
some
you.
damage.
He's gonna pull out a
I
bat.
put my van
roll
in
the
park
radio.
and unbuckled,
Bro, call the
about to
police.
get out to see the damage, but a man was
Oh
already out my
fuck,
window.
nah.
Holy,
He was
whoa,
smiling
hell
and
no!
motioning to talk to
Oh
me.
my god, this
I
boy looks
opened
like
the
a
door,
pepperoni.
and as I stepped out, I saw two more guys at the back of my van,
Oh
both
shit.
looking at me.
Bro, I was about to say, bro, I'm gonna beat the shit out of that guy. I'm gonna come out of the fucking door. I'm coming out of the fucking van. I'm just beat, bro. If there's 3 fucking drug addicts, bro.
Yeah, you're not getting out of this one clean and
The man started to give excuses. His words were hard to make out, and he didn't seem very bothered about crashing into me at all.
Bro's
The
a
other
high
guys
beaver.
looked intoxicated too, just from how they were
Oh
moving.
my god.
But I didn't know for
What
sure.
is this?
My van and his car
Right.
looked a lot worse than I thought. I asked the man for his insurance and went to get mine, but when I got back, I realized
doesn't
that
have
one of them
insurance.
had moved. I asked again for his insurance, but
Bro,
all of them
just go.
looked at me without saying
Oh, he
anything.
doesn't even know what you're saying.
There was this
oh, well,
moment
no.
of me looking at them
That's a
as
good
they
idea.
stared at me in silence before my heart started racing.
Oh, they're gonna pull
I
out.
turned
the
to
fucking-
run back to my van.
No, why
but
did you
instantly,
turn now?
I
They're
heard
gonna
all of their
put the
footsteps
thing
coming
down.
up behind me. I didn't even make it to the door before one of them grabbed me and shoved me against the side of the van.
Oh,
The
fucking
one holding me was making
Chicken.
threats, while the others went back and forth, piling up everything in their car.
Oh, they be rock.
After a minute of having my
Oh,
head
wait.
pressed against the side, he shoved me away and started
Well, that's
forcing me
good.
to walk toward
Any
their
hours
car.
you work at it, you can
The
beat
other
them.
guys finished taking what they could and got in the car, telling the man behind me to hurry up as he
Bro.
opened the back door and tried pushing me into the back seat.
beat the shit out
I
of him.
knew that if I
Well,
let
this
him
ain't
get
good
me in
enough.
that car, I would likely never be seen again. I put all
you
of
do?
my strength into fighting back,
Oh,
doing everything I
W.
could to make it as
Finally.
difficult as possible to get me inside.
How did you
After
get
a
clapped,
20-second
my boy?
struggle, he tossed me away and got in himself. Then they drove off.
Oh.
Why
I
don't
got
you?
up and ran to get my phone from the center console. and
No!
called the
Oh,
police.
Oh, okay, I thought they stole it.
The men who attacked me couldn't be identified and still
Yeah,
haven't
man.
been. And it was hard to say if it was a one-time drunk attack or something they had done before. What they plan to do by bringing me in the car with them is also a mystery. But I think
Oh.
we
We do
all
not
know
know.
what would have been the
Oh,
last
why
one.
did you show a woman?
It's the bitch from The Last of Us.
So what
Hey.
did we learn from this video right there?
What do we
We
learn?
Never do drugs, kids. Never do drugs.
Never get in random people's cars. Because you'll end up like The Last of Us.
Never work at Pizza Hut.
And- and subscribe to the High Beavers.